Hello there. My name is Scott Poole. I am the Bassoon professor at Texas A&M University in Corpus Christi, and I am humbled to be able to present the 2026-27 All-State Etudes for the state of Texas. This exercise that I'm going to do now is by Francois-René Gebauer, and it's number 14 in our book. And on this one, at first glance, you may think, oh, this is not difficult at all. But I picked this one especially in regards to style, and that's classical style. So I would listen to a lot of Gebauer's music. If you can't find that, he was a contemporary of Mozart. So listen to a lot of Mozart for the style. And a perfect indicator of that might be right at the beginning. If I were to just glance at this and look at it for the first time, I might play it something like this. And that's okay. But if we get a real sense of style, I remember back to my very, very first bassoon teacher, and he said to play with a bounce. Think of a bouncing ball going through. Bum, 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 bum. So if we think of that bouncy with a little bit of space between almost every note, it comes out something like this. And that just gives it a little bit more character. And for those of you who play with that type of character when you go in and audition, I think you might get a couple of points ahead. So anyway, there are a couple of technical things about this etude that we do want to think about. And that has to do with the bassoonist's left hand, this finger right here. It's the weakest finger, and it's the finger that causes us, when we go from D to B flat or E flat to C, this finger often lags. And since it lags, we have to take special attention to make sure it comes down. And a perfect example of that is way over here in measure 68 on the second page. It's in a series of triplet patterns that sound kind of like this. And if you can hear what I did on that last note, E flat to C, I had what's called a little blip. And that's because this finger lags just a little bit. So if we can focus on that finger, and what I have to do when I'm doing it is I have to focus on just getting that finger down a little faster than the others. And so I just kind of slam that one down. So helps us get better technique there. Another aspect of this one is the breathing. And in this particular text, our breath marks are written with these little V's that we see. And that's a new thing for some of us. We often see in the United States a comma as a breath mark. But the V is also a breath mark in these. And the first one comes in measure 1, 2, 3, 4. And we don't have to take all of these, but they're very good suggestions to take. One of the things I found when I perform this thing all the way through from beginning to end is that we get what's called stale air, as bassoonists and oboists do this a lot too. And what I mean by that with stale air is that instead of breathing in, we have to let out a little bit of the air. And so on the first V that I get to, I might take a breath. If I do that too many times, though, I'm going to get some stale air. And so if I keep on going, I might take one of those V's as an opportunity to let the air out. And then I can let the air out. And keep going, okay? So these V's are also opportunities to show places of phrasing. And one of the things that we want to do in this particular exercise is take time to do that phrasing. If I go ahead and take the breath and play right through, it does work, But give yourself a chance to phrase the music in a way that you can look at those V's as little breaths, not just for you, but also in the phrasing. And so at the end of the phrase, take just a little bit of time. Bum ba da dum ba da dum ba da bum bum bum, ba dee da dum bum bing bum bum. So just little instances like that that are very indicative of the classical style. Listen to this one. And then especially when we have eighth notes that lead into the next phrase, it works quite well. See how that works? Work with your teachers to get that sense of phrasing, and those that come in and play with a good sense of classical style will do really well. The last little bit in this particular exercise has to do with a trill, and we find this trill that goes from F to G. The whisper key F up to the half whole G. And there are two ways that you can do it. Some bassoons will have a little high E key here, and you can do that way. If you just play the whisper key F and then trill that E key. That works out pretty well. But if you don't have that key, and sometimes I use this other one too, is you can use the full fingering. If we start with F, we can go to G, and instead of moving both hands like this, we can just use this hand. And so we play F to G, and then we can just do here. Don't even worry about the half hole. Just like that. Keeping this hand steady. And that allows for a certain sound. So here's the E key. Here's the way it sounds if I use the full G fingering. It's a little bit more covered. If you'll notice, I'll play both types in the recording that's coming up right now.